Good morning. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar meets G4 counterparts on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference in Germany on Saturday, discusses reformed multilateralism. European allies accuse Russia of killing opposition leader Navalny using toxic dart frog. Moscow rejects the claims as propaganda. Gunman in Nigeria brutally kill at least 35 people in fresh attacks. Government under mounting pressure to restore stability. And in T20 World Cup, India seeks to maintain their dominance as they face Pakistan in a group stage match in Colombo today. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Saturday met his counterparts from the G4 countries, including Germany, Japan, Brazil and India, held on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference 2026 in Germany for the first time. The leaders discussed reformed multilateralism. Last year, when the four leaders met in New York, the G4 ministers concurred on close cooperation towards realizing Security Council reform, including development of consolidated model at the earliest. The G4 ministers reaffirmed their mutual support for each other's candidacies as new permanent members of a reformed Security Council. Earlier, Minister Jaishankar also engaged with G7 foreign ministers. He reiterated India's strong support for UN agenda, emphasizing the need for meaningful reform of the UN Security Council. He highlighted India's role in safeguarding sea lines of communication, acting as first responder in crisis, strengthening port security and contributing to resilient submarine cable infrastructure. At the Munich Security Conference in Germany, world leaders discussed security challenges and global stability. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar highlighted UN reforms and a multipolar world. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reassured Europe on transatlantic ties, while EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen called for closer EU-UK cooperation.
The annual Munich Security Conference is underway in Germany, bringing together global leaders to discuss major security challenges and reinforce international norms and stability. Representing India, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar emphasized the need for urgent UN reforms and shared India's perspective on a multipolar world. He spoke at the session, Navigating Uncertainty, India and Germany in a World in Disarray, engaging with his German counterpart, Johann Wadefull.
When we looked at all the big polls, I think the one which was most under-realized was our relationship with Europe. And within Europe, in fact, in many ways, our relationship with Germany. If I were to say what has changed in the recent past, we've had really two big back-to-back events in India. The visit of Chancellor Merz. I think it was his first visit to Asia. Then the India-Europe FTA, which President von der Leyen described as the mother of all deals.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is also attending the conference, highlighting India's commitment to protecting climate-affected communities and forest ecosystems.
Working for climate and saving, let's say, the climate from human actions. That is one thing we need to address, no doubt. But equally, countries like India are worried about communities which are affected by climate change. So the government is going to have to look at saving climate for itself, because that has long-term implication on all of us, and equally saving communities from the changes which happen because of climate change.
At the conference on Saturday, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio sought to reassure Europe, calling for a revitalized transatlantic alliance to strengthen global cooperation.
We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history. What we want is a reinvigorated alliance that recognizes that what has ailed our societies is not just a set of bad policies, but a malaise of hopelessness and complacency.
EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen urged Britain and the EU to work more closely on security, economy, and defending democratic values a decade after Brexit.
Europe, and in particular the UK, should come closer on security, on economy, on defending our democracies. 10 years from Brexit, our futures are as bound as ever.
The high-powered gathering comes as Russia-Ukraine conflict enters its fifth year. European leaders pledged to shoulder more responsibility for NATO's shared defense commitments. The Munich Security Conference underscores the growing importance of global partnerships, collective security, and multilateral cooperation in addressing today's complex geopolitical challenges. Bureau Report, DD India.
Moving on, expectations are high as global leaders, policymakers, industry heads and technology experts prepare to come together to shape the future of artificial intelligence. The focus is firmly on outcomes from responsible governance and inclusive growth to real-world deployment of AI solutions as India readies to host a key international summit aimed at turning promise into impact.
As India is transitioning through a decisive phase of its development journey, artificial intelligence has emerged as a critical national enabler. Positioning AI as a tool for democratizing technology, India is focusing on access, inclusion, and equity at scale, while expanding its footprint in global technology governance. In this backdrop, the India AI Impact Summit 2026 is being held in New Delhi from February 16th to 20, marking the first ever global AI summit hosted in the Global South. The deliberations at the AI Impact Summit will be structured around 7 chakras or working groups: human capital, advancing equitable skilling and inclusive workforce transitions for an AI-enabled future of work; inclusion for social empowerment, advancing AI systems that are inclusive by design, empowering diverse communities and ensuring equitable representation; safe and trusted AI, building globally trusted AI systems anchored in transparency, accountability, and shared safeguards for innovation; science, harnessing AI to accelerate frontier science, foster scientific collaboration, and translate breakthroughs into shared global progress; resilience, innovation, and efficiency, driving sustainable, resource-efficient AI systems that strengthen climate resilience and sustainability; democratizing AI resources, promoting equitable access to foundational AI resources for inclusive innovation and sustainable development worldwide; AI for economic development and social good, leveraging AI to enhance productivity, innovation, and inclusive development across economies and societies. The India AI Impact Summit 2026 is expected to deliver focused, outcome-driven results aligned with national priorities. The summit will focus on practical AI deployment, policy alignment, and institutional coordination across government and industry. It will strengthen AI governance frameworks, assess regional readiness for AI-led growth, and support skill development and workforce transition. The summit will also boost awareness of AI applications and foster partnerships among government, academia, startups, and industry to drive responsible and inclusive AI growth. By linking policy with implementation and innovation with public purpose, the summit is poised to position India as a key convener in global AI cooperation, reinforcing a shift from dialogue to delivery and underscoring India's commitment to responsible, inclusive, and development-oriented artificial intelligence. Amish Mahajan's report for DD India.
India will host 3 major international maritime events, namely International Fleet Review 2026, Exercise Milan 2026 and Indian Ocean Naval Symposium Conclave of Chiefs from today in Visakhapatnam. The 11-day event marks India's first simultaneous hosting of these major maritime events, demonstrating the country's commitment to being a preferred security partner for all friends and partners. The event will feature a presidential fleet review at sea by President Draupadi Murmu, showcasing indigenous platforms including INS Vikrant, India's first domestically built aircraft carrier, Visakhapatnam-class destroyers, Nilgiri-class stealth frigates and Arnala-class anti-submarine warfare corvettes, reflecting India's transformation into a builder's navy. Exercise Milan Sea and Harbour phases will focus on interoperability, maritime domain awareness, anti-submarine warfare, air defence and search and rescue operations. The International City Parade will feature contingents from participating navies, Indian Army, Indian Air Force marching through Visakhapatnam's iconic beachfront, the RK Beach, showcasing maritime diplomacy directly to citizens. The IONS Conclave of Chiefs will bring together naval chiefs from 25 member and 9 observers and specially invited nations to deliberate on maritime security, HADR and information sharing. In the chaos of the battlefield where the fog of war can blind the bravest, there is a lifeline that never breaks. It isn't just a wire or radio wave, it is the pulse of the nation's defense. We're talking about the nervous system of Indian Army, the Corps of Signals that celebrates 116th Raising Day on 15 February. DD India's Prasar Bharati gets us more.
Signals motto, Tivri Chaukas, which means swift and secure. And it has lived by these words through every major conflict in our history. But it's not the time to bask in the past glory, but to be future ready.
ये जो रेजिंग डे होता है केवल हिस्ट्री में देखने का जोर नहीं होता, ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है हमें अपने आप को इवॉल्व करने की, अपने आप को करंट करने की और इसको एक बेंचमार्क लेते हुए कैसे हमने आगे और कल की लड़ाई के लिए तैयारी करनी है, हमने डोमिनेट कैसे करना है दुश्मन को, वो भी प्रेरणा देता है.
From the world wars to the liberation of Goa and from the intense battles of 1965 and 71 to the heights of Kargil, the Corps of Signals has been the unsung architect of victory. Kargil was quite a challenge, and once again, Corps of Signals rose to the occasion.
The kind of communication support we gave in Kargil war, because of the sheer difficulty of providing communications. There were lofty mountains, there was enemy sitting right opposite you, the firepower was all pervasive everywhere. But even in that kind of difficult and arduous kind of terrain and conditions, providing communication itself was a kind of a battle. But still Signals rose to the occasion and provided very, very good communications.
Thanks to the Corps of Signals, the success of Operation Sindoor is a result of the perfect communication network of our defense forces.
ऑप सिंदूर में कोर ऑफ सिग्नल ने सबसे बढ़ चढ़कर काम किया. एक आर्म ऑफ द फ्यूचर के लिए ये आज उभर कर निकला है, जबकि मॉडर्न बैटलफील्ड में रिक्वायरमेंट किस चीज़ की है, और वो है स्पेक्ट्रम की, डोमिनेंस ऑफ स्पेक्ट्रम की और साइबर जो कि सब कुछ हमें कंप्यूटर में और कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क्स में हमें सिखलाता है.
The nature of war is changing. Battlefield is no longer just physical. It is digital and full of artificial intelligence. Under the 2026 theme of the Year of Networking and Data Centricity, the Corps of Signals is leading the charge into the future. In the age of cybertronics, where cyberspace and electronics combine to present new challenges every day, the Signal Corps prepares an impenetrable shield for all our armed forces. As the motto of the Signal Corps says, Tivri Chaukas, which means intensely vigilant. Vishal Baristo for DD India.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Zelensky meets Rubio ahead of peace talks in Geneva. New SpaceX long-duration crew arrives at ISS. And Mahashivratri is being celebrated today.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. European allies have accused Russia of killing opposition leader Navalny using toxic dart frog, while Russia has rejected the claims as propaganda. In a joint statement, Britain, France, Germany, Sweden and the Netherlands said analysis of samples from Navalny's body conclusively confirmed the presence of epibidine, a toxin found in poison dart frogs in South America and not found naturally in Russia. The statement, almost exactly 2 years after Navalny's death, said Moscow had the means, motive and opportunity to administer the poison. Meanwhile, Russian government, which has repeatedly denied any responsibility for Navalny's death, dismissed the latest allegations as Western propaganda hoax. Russian embassy in London also said one must ask what kind of person would believe this nonsense about a frog. Ukrainian President Zelensky on Saturday held meeting with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference. He voiced hope that US brokered peace talks in Geneva next week would be substantive, but said Ukraine was being asked too often to make concessions. Ukrainian, Russian and American delegations are due to meet in the Swiss lakeside city on Tuesday and Wednesday as US President Donald Trump seeks to push through a deal to end Europe's biggest conflict since 1945. President Zelensky also said on Saturday he had spoken on phone to US envoy Steve Witkoff and Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner ahead of talks with Russia mediated by the US in Geneva next week. Meanwhile, on the sidelines of Munich Security Conference, Zelensky accused Moscow of seeking to delay decisions by changing its lead negotiator. He said the US had proposed a security guarantee lasting for 15 years after the conflict, but Ukraine wanted a deal for 20 years or longer. He also called for greater action from Ukraine's allies to press Russia into making peace, both in the form of tougher sanctions and more weapon supplies.
The surprise is that Russians changed, the leader of the group. This is a surprise to my mind because they want to postpone the decisions. But it's too, maybe I'm pessimistic a little bit, but we count on Americans that we will continue and they will not give Russia to postpone or to say let's begin negotiations from the very, very beginning because we have the new group. Yes, I think that will be a big mistake, and I hope that our American partner will not give such possibility to Russians play with them.
In other news, armed attackers on motorbikes killed at least 35 people and burnt homes and shops during raids on 3 villages in northwest Niger state early on Saturday. The attacks occurred at the Borgu local government area near Nigeria's border with Benin. The assaults are part of recent surge in violence blamed on armed groups who have carried out deadly attacks, kidnappings for ransom and forced many communities to flee across northern Nigeria. A witness said more than 200 attackers on motorbikes swept through the area, targeting multiple villages. Insecurity remains a major concern in Nigeria, with authorities facing growing pressure to restore stability in affected regions. Let's turn to updates from Bangladesh now, where newly elected members of parliament and cabinet members are set to be sworn in on Tuesday, that is February 17th, following the landslide victory of Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP) in the 13th national elections. According to constitutional procedures, after the MPs are sworn in, the parliamentary party that commands a majority will hold a meeting to elect its leader. The elected leader will then meet the president to formally stake claim to form the government. The president will first administer the oath to the prime minister, followed by the ministers, state ministers and the deputy ministers. The cabinet division will subsequently issue a gazette notification allocating portfolios. A crew of 4 astronauts, 2 of whom have never been into space, arrived on the International Space Station on an 8-month science mission on Saturday. The crew arrived aboard a Dragon capsule dubbed Freedom after it was launched on a SpaceX rocket from Florida on February 13th. Crew 12 was led by Jessica Meir, a veteran astronaut and marine biologist on her second trip to the space station, nearly 7 years after making history with NASA colleague Christina Koch by completing history's first all-female spacewalk. The ISS, which spans the length of a football field and ranks as the largest human-made object in space, has been continuously operated by a US-Russian-led consortium that includes Canada, Japan and 11 European countries. Let's turn to sports. The stage is set for a blockbuster clash as India and Pakistan lock horns in the ICC T20 World Cup group stage match in Colombo today. Defending champions India have a 7-1 record against Pakistan in the tournament's history. Both teams have opened their World Cup campaigns with back-to-back wins. Reporting from Colombo, DD India correspondent Narayan Singh analyzes the key strengths and weaknesses of both sides ahead of the marquee matchup.
Team India will take on Pakistan in the third match of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup on Sunday. Here, let's take a look at the conditions, strengths and weaknesses of both the teams ahead of the marquee clash. Let's first talk about the venue and conditions. The match will be played at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. The pitch here is generally slow and helps spinners. The ball tends to grip and scoring is not easy. In recent T20 matches at this venue, the first innings average score has been around 140 to 160 runs, and batting against the spin will be a key. And India's strength, India led by Surya Kumar Yadav, look like a balanced and confident side. At the top, Ishan Kishan and Abhishek Sharma can provide quick starts. The middle order has a solid players like Tilak Verma and Rinku Singh. Finishers like Hardik Pandya and Shivam Dubey add power at the end. In bowling, India looks strong in all departments. Jasprit Bumrah is lethal at the death. Talking about Arshdeep Singh, he brings swing with the new ball. And spinners like Varun, Kuldeep and Aksar. There is one challenge for India. It could be about fitting everyone in. With so many match winners, leaving someone out might be as difficult as facing the opposition. Also, the fitness and health of the key players is a matter of concern. Pakistan's strength. Pakistan, led by Salman Ali Agha, rely heavily on their fast bowling. Shaheen Shah Afridi and Naseem Shah can trouble any batting lineup, but currently they are looking out of form. Their spin attack includes Abrar Ahmed, Shadab Khan, Mohammad Nawaz, and most importantly Usman Tariq, which could be effective on this surface. With that, Babar Azam will be crucial, and Fakhar Zaman and Sam Ayub can provide aggressive start to the Pakistan team. Pakistan's weakness. Pakistan's main issue has been inconsistency. Their middle order has collapsed under pressure in big matches, especially against India. Now, talking about the winning formula, the toss will be important. With dew likely in the evening, the team winning the toss may prefer to bowl first. For India, the key will be playing spin well, using their spinners smartly and staying calm under pressure. For Pakistan, early wickets and disciplined spin bowling could change the game for them. In a slow, tense contest at the Colombo, the team that handles pressure better and adapts to condition quickly will come out on top. With camera person SP Dubey, Narayan Singh for DD India, Colombo.
Mahashivratri, one of the most sacred festivals dedicated to Lord Shiva, is being celebrated today with immense devotion across India. Observed in the month of Phagun 12th and last month of the Hindu lunar calendar. The festival marks the night of fasting, prayers, chanting and spiritual awakening. Devotees across the country visit temples to seek Lord Shiva's blessings for health, prosperity and peace. And you're watching those visuals from Varanasi and Ujjain Shivratri celebrations. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan this QR code on your screens and download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.